What's up everyone, I'm Humam Ali reporting for Xinhua News Agency. We are now in the southern province of Daraa. This is the border crossing between Syria and Jordan. This is the Nasib border crossing between Syria and Jordan, which is the official border crossing between both countries. It's the only one that used to be operative before the crisis. The Syrian army took this border crossing after massive operations against the rebels in the eastern countryside of Daraa, which led finally to the capture of this border point with Jordan. This is the last point here of the Syrian territories. We can see a banner there welcoming the arrivals to Syria from Jordan. On the other side, we can see the Jordanian flag over there and banners reading Homeland, God and the King, in reference to the King of Jordan. And there is another sign there reading welcome to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. So we are now here at this border crossing. We will now cross out of Syria. This is the Syrian flag over here, and we have crossed out of the Syrian territories. Usually, before the war and before the rebels captured this border crossing, this area is the middle ground between both countries. This means that we are now out of Syria, and there is the Jordanian territories. We see, as we have said, the sign, welcome to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, and we can see the Jordanian flag over there, and there's also a tank, a Jordanian tank on our left. Of course, this border crossing was captured by the rebels during battles with the Syrian army in 2015. Since then, the Jordanian side closed these borders. The official borders closed these borders, so Syria has actually lost the ground or the land border with Jordan. Of course, there were flights between both countries, but about the actual borders on the ground, this only one was closed. Of course, the rebels, during their control of these areas, they used to infiltrate or in and out through these stretches of land on our left and our right. But as for this border crossing, it was officially closed. As we have mentioned, the army captured this border crossing recently, and we can see military tanks moving here and there, preparing they are paving the ground here actually after they took control of the border crossing. They are positioning in this area between Syria and the Jordanian border. Of course, the Syrian army has been on a wide-scale offensive against the rebels in Daraa over the past 2 weeks. They started the offensive on June 19. And the battles continued, and the army has almost captured all of the eastern countryside of Daraa, either through military offensives, through battles with the rebels, including the ultra-radical ones such as Nusra Front and other militants allied with the Islamic State, or through something called reconciliations. The reconciliations are actually offers or deals the government proposed to the rebels. Of course, those deals and the reconciliations are largely backed and mediated by Russia. Of course, there were some reconciliations in some towns while the army was advancing, and on the other hand, the Russians were actually mediating a broader reconciliation to include all of Daraa. Of course, yes. Of course, the state TV, the Syrian media, they declared recently that there was a reconciliation deal reached with the rebels. These reconciliations will see the rebels handing over their heavy and medium weapons. Those who want to stay in their areas and reconcile and settle their situation with the government will remain. Others who don't want to stay under the government control will be granted a safe passage outside Daraa toward rebel-held areas in the northwestern province of Idlib. So the army actually waged this battle on Daraa because it's very important. It's only 100 kilometers from the capital Damascus, south of the capital Damascus, and as we have seen, it's very close to it's bordering actually Jordan, which is the only border point on the ground between both countries. So it's important both politically and also due to its proximity to the capital as well. And this comes after 7 years. Actually, Daraa was the birthplace of the Syrian war. The spark of the Syrian war was here in Daraa. The insurgency started here and spread across the country. So the army is now pulling all the strings now. They have captured very important areas across the country, major areas, and now it's the turn of Daraa to have this situation here settled after the capital Damascus, after the countryside of the capital Damascus was completely secured. So this next stage after Damascus was here in Daraa in southern Syria. So as we have mentioned, this is the border crossing, the Nasib border crossing. Of course, on the Syrian side, it's called Nasib, the Nasib border center. On the Jordanian side, it's called Jabir. So we are now here in this middle ground between both countries. So it's like no man's land, because here there is no, when you get here, it means that you have crossed the Syrian border control and you're heading toward the Jordanian border control. So this is a very important achievement for the Syrian army during the battles in Daraa, during the offensive that has been taking place for a long time. We can hear some shelling around us. It's strange because there should be some sort of a ceasefire today. We don't know what is it. Maybe some small blasts here and there, maybe, because usually when the rebels want to evacuate their positions, they actually burn down their positions, and so that they don't leave any evidence behind. So here we have a Syrian officer here, a soldier, who has been engaged actually in the battles that led to capturing this border crossing. يعطيك العافية. معلش تحكي لنا شوي عن معركة السيطرة على نصيب.
أخي الكريم، تمت معركة السيطرة على معبر نصيب بعد أن استولينا على مدينة بلدة طيبة في 5/7/2018 وبلدة النعيمية ليلة أمس 6/7/2018. بالاستيلاء على هاتين البلدتين تم قطع الشريان الرئيسي لبلاد المجموعات الارهابيه المسلحه، اي انهم حوصروا من كافه الجهات. كانت العمليه مستمره باتجاه ام المآذن وصولا الى معبر نصيب، لكن الاخوه المواطنين في بلده ام المآذن قرروا تسليم امرهم للجيش العربي السوري ورفع علم الجمهوريه العربيه السوري. الحمد لله نحن لدينا توجيهات بحقن الدماء، نعمل على مبدا تنفيذ أوامر القيادة الحكيمي، وهي بإعادة الأهالي إلى بيتهم سالمين من لم تتلطخ أيديهم بالدماء. طبعا بعد أن قضينا على المجموعات الإرهابية المسلحة التي كانت محصنة بشكل كبير في مدينة صيدا والنعيم، استمرت معارك طويلة لعشرات الساعات. اغتنمنا الكثير من المعدات الثقيلة والخفيفة والمتوسطة. تقدمنا باتجاه معبر نصيب، حيث كانت الفلول الإرهابية تندحر أمامنا، وكان هناك آخر سيارة مزودة برشاش تم ضبطها في آخر ممر في هذا الاتجاه. قمنا بضرب هذه السيارة كان هناك قتلى من عناصر الإرهابية المسلحة. ولت الفلول بعد أن قمنا بقطع الطرق المؤدية إليهم وقطع طرق بلادهم.
تمام. So what the officer has said, in short, he said that the army was advancing in the towns near the border crossing here. They have cut all the supply routes and they kept on advancing. There was some intense battles before reaching this border area. And when the army reached here, there were some vehicles outfitted with machine guns the rebels have used. And so they destroyed the last vehicle here at the crossing. And there was also, they said that bodies of the militants who were fighting here were also found on this street. هلا كيف الوضع؟ في كان سمعنا انه في ازاله الغام وفي تنظيف، شو صار من بعد
صحيح اخي، كما ترى نحن الان خارج الحدود السوري، الجمهوريه العربيه السوريه، نحن على الاراضي المملكه الاردنيه الهاشميه كما تلاحظ. كانت هناك الكثير من الالغام التي قامت فرق الهندسي بتفكيكها وازالتها وتامين، كما ترى انتشار لقوات الجيش العربي السوري على كامل محور الحدود، ابتداء من بصر الشام نهاية بمعبر نصيب، أي أن حدودنا مع الأردن أصبحت آمنة بشكل كامل من معبر نصيب باتجاه الشرق الجنوب إلى مدينة السويداء.
Oh, okay. So the officer, he said that since capturing this border crossing, the army cleaned the mines that were explosive devices that were left by the rebels, and they also deployed along the borders. Of course, this is the official border crossing, but the border line, they have also deployed along the border line all the way toward the southern province of Sueda. He said that the entire border line between Syria and Jordan is now secured. تمام. وبعدين ايمتى في مثلا ممكن يفتح المعبر او شيء؟ هلا ما مبين.
سيد الكريم، هذه الأوامر تصدر عن الإدارة السياسية. نحن رجال حرب، رجال الجيش العربي السوري، رجال ميدان. نحن نؤمن الآن بتوجيهات من القيادة عودة الأخوة المواطنين إلى بيوتهم، وأن نتعهد بتأمين كل ما يلزمهم من طعام وشراب وطبابة. هذه توجيهات القيادة، ونحن موجودون هنا لتنفيذ أوامر القيادة العليا الممثلة بالقائد العام لجيش القوات المسلحة السيد الرئيس المفضل بشار الأسد. عودة المعبر إلى العمل هو قرار سياسي، نحن لا نعلم شيئا عنه.
About the return of the borders, to the opening of the borders between Syria and Jordan, he said that this is a political decision, of course, and that the main task now for the Syrian soldiers is to secure the return of people, the families who fled these areas before, to secure their return to their areas and to provide them and facilitate to give them all facilitations to have their lives back. So. يعطيك العافية، شكرا لك.
عافيك، هلا شرفتوا.
So as we have mentioned before, for those who are tuning in with us now, we have crossed out of the Syrian border. Now we are in front of the Jordanian border. This is for the first time since the rebels captured this border crossing in 2015. And since the borders are still closed, it has been closed for 2 years. So there is no way to get into Jordan. The borders are closed, of course. But now let's go back and cross back into Syria, to the Syrian side. So this is here. It says the Syrian Arab Republic. So we are now out of Syria and we're stepping back into the country. So the Syrian Arab Republic welcomes you. This is the banners. We are back in Syria. Welcome back to this broadcast from Nasib border crossing between Syria and Jordan, which has been closed for 2 years. And now as the army advanced into the eastern countryside of Daraa and captured all of these areas, they reached Nasib border crossing and they captured it again. They raised the Syrian official flag over this border control center over there, and now the opening of the border awaits political decision between both countries, between Syria and Jordan.